My friend passed away the other day, and his mom texted me saying, hey, could you send some pictures of you with him? Because she wanted to have pictures of him with all of his friends shown at his funeral. So I was like, yeah, of course. So I started scrolling through my phone, and it was at that moment where I realized me and my friend, in our 13 years of friendship, have never taken a picture together. We were good friends too. One time a raccoon was chasing me, and he grabbed it and threw it like a frisbee to save me. I guess it's just true what they say about guy friends not taking pictures with each other. And don't get mad at me for laughing, okay? Because even his mom thought this was funny. What do people talk about? Because like, I'm not shy, but I just cannot think of anything to say when I'm talking to someone. I see people having conversations for hours and I'm like, what do you guys talk about? Because after I say, hey, how are you doing? I'm finished. It's gotten so bad that one time I Googled what to talk about with people and the search results terrified me because all of them were like, hey, don't worry. I don't know how to talk to people either. But now I'm 39, single, no friends, and I have a lizard. And honestly, I kind of like this life. Like, no offense, but I do not want to be you. Why does everyone think their baby is cute? Like, some babies are just ugly, okay? But everyone says they have the cutest baby ever, when in reality, they look like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. And that's okay. That baby was just in a sack for 9 months. It's not supposed to come out looking fresh with a sick haircut and a dope outfit on. It might be ugly, but you don't gotta lie, because then whenever you say, guys, isn't my baby so cute? You make everyone else feel the need to lie, because they're not gonna be like, hell no, that baby is hideous, even if it is. I'm sure I was an ugly baby too. I wasn't even mewing back then. I'm sure I looked horrible. But we don't gotta lie about it. I made a video trying jelly fruit, but everyone said that I was eating it wrong because apparently I'm supposed to freeze them. So I did. Now let's try it. I can't even bite it. Let me try biting it from this angle. I'm gonna break my tooth. Maybe if I try a different one? I can't do it. And they weren't lying because it says best chilled or frozen, so I don't know what's going on. This is the last frozen one I have. Let's try it with this. I can't do it. Can someone please tell me what I'm doing wrong? How do people like alcohol? Because I feel like everyone who tells me that it's good is lying. And I'm not trying to be one of those people who are like, oh my gosh, I'm so much better than you because I don't drink. Dog, I don't care what you do. I just genuinely don't like it. Every alcohol I've ever tried tastes like air freshener to me. But you know how I'm sure that it's not just me who thinks this? Whenever I see people drink, this is their reaction. Cheers. But then you ask them how it tastes and they're like, oh, it's great. Like, that does not look like you're enjoying it. What am I missing? I feel like it's a lie that everyone but me is in on. No one talks about how crazy women's intuition is because there was a girl at my school that thought her boyfriend was cheating on her, but she had no evidence of it. She just had a gut feeling. So she literally went through a list of all the girls that her boyfriend followed. And she somehow found a random girl's page that she just had a weird suspicion about. So she DM'd her. And apparently that girl was also dating the guy at the same time, and neither of them knew. She just randomly picked the right girl. How did she do that out of the 400 people that he follows, you may ask? I don't know. But that's why you don't cheat on your girlfriend. They will turn into the best detective you've ever seen. Why do people have such weird group chat names? Like, I don't think I've ever met a friend group that has a normal one. It's always got to be something freaky. And I would know because I get added to a lot of random group chats from people that follow me, and they always have the most insane names. Like, tell me why the other day, my phone starts going off a bunch during class, so I check it, and I'm getting texts from 5 Nights at Diddy's. My teacher sees me looking at my phone while she's teaching, so she's like, Tyler, why are you on your phone while I'm teaching? And what am I supposed to say back? Oh, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Smith. I'm just getting a bunch of texts from 5 Nights at Diddy's right now. Please stop adding me to these group chats. My cousin just told me that slap bracelets have tape measures inside of them, and that's how they bend, but I don't think that's true, so I'm gonna cut it open and find out. The reason I don't think this is real is because a kid in my class bit one of these one time, and I didn't see a tape measure inside of it. Okay, I cut it in half, and now let's see what's inside. Bruh. This is not a tape measure. Wait, low-key, I think it is actually. It doesn't have the yellow paint. He might have been right, because I just grabbed a tape measure, and look. It's the same size. He actually solved something for once. That's crazy. Someone is catfishing people on Tinder by using my pictures, and all I have to say is, that is awesome. I will admit, it is messed up, but do you know how flattering that is? Like, you think I'm good looking enough that you're gonna catfish people with my pictures? Like, that is the best compliment you could get from someone. Now, I will say, it is weird, so whoever's doing this, don't be saying weird stuff and pretending that it's coming from me, because I know you're a little freaky if you're a catfish already, but if you're gonna be using my pictures, don't be too freaky, all right? But also, at the same time, thank you. I really needed the confidence booster. I appreciate it. Why are school drills so useless? Like, when I was in high school, we would do drills where we would pretend there was a fire and we would all line up inside the classroom, but no one was allowed to leave until everyone lined up. And then we would walk in a single file line outside. Like, do teachers really think that if there was a fire, I would wait to get in a single file line and then walk outside? No! The moment I hear that fire alarm beep, I'm sprinting through the first door I can find. It'd be like this. Are the teachers trying to set us up or something? Because if we did what they told us to do during a fire, none of us would make it out. I got a DM yesterday asking why I'm lying about being American, so I replied to it saying, what are you talking about? I am American. But then they said, no, you clearly aren't. So I asked what makes them think that, and then they said I don't have an American accent. But I didn't even know what that meant, so I asked them what they thought an American accent sounded like, and they sent me a video of someone from New York. They thought since New York is in America and people over there talk differently, everyone in America talks like that. To all the non-Americans out there, trust me, most of us don't talk like we're in the Godfather movie. I went to school with a guy who just got put in prison for murder, and he was super popular when we were in school. So now that he's in prison, a bunch of our old classmates are posting stuff on social media saying to free him. This man got booked for murder, not littering, and you want him to be free? You want him to roam the same streets that your mother roams? And just for context, when we were in school, he used to pretend to stab people with a pencil, but we would just laugh it off because he was the cool kid. Now we know he was just fantasizing about really doing it. California State Prison, if you are watching this video, do not free him. He will do it again. The first time I tried matcha, everyone said I didn't like it because I ordered it wrong. So now I got 2 different ones with strawberry in it like you guys recommended. So let's see if these are any better. Let's try the strawberry puree one first. This tastes like if you dropped a piece of strawberry gum on grass and then put it back in your mouth. Okay, now strawberry with cold foam. Everyone says this is the best one. Here we go. Okay, wait. This doesn't taste like grass, actually. This tastes like turf. When I was 10 years old, I went to the barber for the first time and tried to stab my barber with scissors because he asked what haircut I wanted, and my friend had a really cool afro, so I told him I wanted an afro too. He laughed at me and I had no idea why, but I had really bad anger issues when I was a little kid, so I got his scissors from off his desk and tried to stab him. All of a sudden, he stopped laughing and told me that I was never allowed to go back in his barber shop again. So I want to go back today and see if he recognized me and kicks me out, or if he'll let me get a haircut. A little kid told me I should eat jelly fruit in one of my videos, but I don't even know how you're supposed to eat these because I've never heard of them before. Like, is this a straw or something? No. Okay, apparently this just says to bite it. Let's try that. Mmm, that's good. Let's try this one. What? What was that? Why did it just go out the wrong side? I don't think that's supposed to happen. And it's all over my phone, ew! If that little kid is watching this video, I know you did this on purpose. Why do females say, I'm just a girl anytime they do something wrong? Like, I saw a girl post a story where she literally crashed into a fire hydrant and she made the caption, I'm just a girl, with the puppy eyes emoji. What does that even mean? I thought saying, I'm just a girl was like the response you give when your room is too messy because you have a bunch of clothes on the ground. Not when you almost run over a child on a bicycle. And the most funny part is that she said she didn't get in trouble for it at all. Like, she didn't get a fine or anything. So I just know that when the police arrived and asked her what happened, she said, I'm just a girl. And it worked. They need a cheat code like this for dudes. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone where they say something sad but like kind of funny, and then you just respond with the most insane facial expression ever and then think, I should not have made that face out loud? Because I was talking to someone and they were telling me how their grandma passed away from falling off a jet ski at 84 years old. And I kid you not, this was my reaction. I did that face for like a second and then I stopped because I was like, that is the most out-of-pocket reaction I could have just had to what she said. I think I just have like no social awareness at all. I went to school with a foreign exchange student who didn't speak any English, but he really wanted to learn it, so he would ask us to teach him words. And we would, but there was one kid who just loved to troll people. So he would purposely teach the foreign exchange student words in English, but lie about what they meant. Like, he told him the word poop meant to eat. So when this poor kid was at lunch, he'd see our food and be like, what are you pooping? Instead of saying, what are you eating? But the worst part is, no one ever corrected it. I'm pretty sure he's still out there asking what people are pooping. Akira, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, bro. When I was younger, me and my classmates got our first day of school ruined because these older guys did a drive-by on us. And what I mean by that is 2 guys drove around in their car with megaphones and yelled, Santa's not real, Santa's not real. You would have thought that the school just got bombed because everyone was crying. The worst part, these guys were lying. Santa is real. He is. He is 100% real. They were lying. They were lying, okay? Never use flash when you're taking a picture, because one time I was on the bus and there was this guy that was trying to fit his whole fist in his mouth. Don't ask why, I don't know. But he was getting really close to actually fitting it. So I was like, this guy is crazy. I need to record this. But obviously I didn't want him to see me recording. So I got my phone out and I pretended to take a selfie so he wouldn't be suspicious. But what I didn't know is that my flash was on. So I press record and immediately the light just flashes in this guy's face. And this guy is naturally just kind of crazy looking, you know what I mean? So he quickly turns his head with his eyes wide open and he's like twitching like this. And I'm thinking, this guy's gonna bite me or something. So I panicked and I threw my phone across the bus And now this is what my phone looks like. I can't even see the time anymore. So I guess that's what I deserve for recording a stranger in public. My bad, bro, but I'm never taking the bus again. Does anyone else have a friend that has no social anxiety? Like, I literally question whether these types of people are real humans or not, because one time my friend went to the dentist, and when he was done, he was telling me about how he had a really big crush on the dentist, but he swore she liked him back. So I was like, what makes you think that? And he said it was because they were holding eye contact with each other for a long time. But then I went, wait, how are you making eye contact with the dentist while she's working on your teeth? And he just says, oh, because when she was leaning over me flossing my teeth, I would just stare into her eyes. So I was like, hold up. You were staring at the dentist's eyes while she was working on your teeth? That is literally like the one thing you shouldn't do when you're at the dentist. Everyone knows that the #1 rule is that you stare at the ceiling while the dentist is working on you. But he just thought that was a completely normal thing to do. He somehow doesn't overthink anything. Did anyone else purposely pick the kid who couldn't read during popcorn reading at school? Like, I know this sounds evil, but I would always do it to mess with my friend. Because I remember the teacher would always ask who wants to read first, and I would raise my hand because I liked reading. But the moment I finished my page and it was time for me to pick a different person to read, everyone knew exactly who was gonna be up next because I picked the same person every time. The funny part is, my friend always knew I was gonna choose him because while I was reading, he would ask to go to the bathroom or try to come up with an excuse to leave class. But the teacher would always be like, no, class just started. You don't need to go to the bathroom. So I'd pick him and he would just be reading in like 0.5 speed. I also did this because since he was slow to read, it took up more class time. Looking back at it though, I was an evil kid. I'm sorry for making you do that, Jimmy. Never go on your phone in public. It's not safe anymore. Because I was walking out of the grocery store to my car, but I was on my phone, so I wasn't really paying attention. When I got to my car, I tried pulling on the door handle and it wouldn't budge, but I was like, that's weird. I already pressed the unlock button. Why is the door not opening? And after a couple seconds of trying, the window rolls down a little bit and an old lady screams, "Get away from me, I'll call the cops." It wasn't until that moment that I took a step back, looked at the vehicle and realized, this wasn't my car. This poor old lady thought I was trying to break into her car while she was in it. But the worst part was that she didn't even seem scared of me. Like, she was just warning me. So do I not look capable of being a scary burglar? Like, just imagine me being like, give me all your money. Yeah, I just watched that back. Now I see why she wasn't scared of me. I don't look intimidating at all, bro. Have you ever met someone that copies your vocabulary? And they always try to act like you aren't the reason they talk like that. Because I grew up in California but went to school in Tennessee and people there spoke very differently. So when I first arrived, I met this guy that was from Tennessee and he was super country. He grew up on a farm and talked like this. So whenever I saw him, I would always say, "What's up, foo?" Because that's just a word people in California said. And at first, he was confused because he didn't know what foo meant. But after a couple of weeks, every time he would see me with his thick country accent, he would be like, "How's it going, foo?" But it was so funny because you could tell that was a word he never said before. And then when I asked when he started saying that word, he was like, "I've always talked like that." Yeah, okay, buddy. I'm honored when people start using my vocabulary though. It makes me feel good. Nobody talks about how scary it is to play music with your parents in the car. Because I never realized how dirty most of the songs I like are until I listened to them around my mom and dad. Like one time, I was in the car with him and I needed to charge my phone, so I plugged it into the aux, which made my music start playing. Then I was like, oh, let me choose a good song so my parents think I have a good music taste. So I put on the song With Them by Young Thug. But if you've ever heard this song before, you know that the moment it starts playing, it gets really inappropriate. So my mom was like, "Oh my gosh, Tyler, this is so vulgar." And my dad was like, "Heck yeah, this is awesome." But I was so embarrassed. I quickly changed it to gospel music just to try to make them forget about what happened. Like I literally had no idea how dirty that song was until I listened to it with my parents in the car. I guess I just never actually pay attention to lyrics, but I learned my lesson. Never again. Why do best friends never take pictures together? Because I was talking to this girl the other day and I was telling her about my friend because I thought they would like each other. But then she said, "Oh, well, do you have any pictures of him you can show me?" So I started looking through my camera roll because I've known him for a while, so I was super confident I had a picture of us together. But after scrolling for about 5 minutes, I only found one picture. And the only reason I had this one was because it's the picture that the Postmates driver takes of you when they deliver your food. I had it saved because the Postmates driver used flash to take the picture, so we looked terrified and I thought it was super funny. So I had no other option but to show this picture to the girl and she was like, "Is that the best pic you got?" Then I was like, "Girl, that's the only pic I got." Keep in mind, we've been friends since 1st grade, yet the only picture I had of us together was one that the Postmates driver took. How can people be in relationships with big age differences? Like, what do you even talk about? Because the other day, I was at dinner and there was a couple at the table next to me and the man was probably about 65 years old while the girl was like 25. So I wanted to be nosy and listen to their conversations to see what they talk about, but I couldn't because they literally did not talk. And when they did talk, it was just the man saying something like, "My bladder's so weak these days." Like, you know that girl don't want to talk about that, and she definitely can't relate to it. She's fresh out of college. She'd probably rather talk about what Taylor Swift wore to the Met Gala or something. And people might say, "Oh, well, how do you know that was his girlfriend and not his daughter?" "Well, I saw them kiss each other." So I really hope it wasn't his daughter. But while I saw them doing that, they both looked so uncomfortable. And I'm not judging anyone that has a big age gap. I just genuinely don't understand how you do it. Have you ever had a moment where you realized you were turning into your parents? Because I was just driving my little cousin home and we passed by a Taco Bell. So he went, "Ooh, can we get Taco Bell?" And you wanna know what I said? I was like, "No, we have food at home." Why would I say that? That's my parents' line. And the crazy part is, I love Taco Bell. Like when we were driving by it, I was also thinking, oh, Taco Bell sounds really good right now. So when I finally realized that I was acting like an unk, you know what I did? I told my cousin, yeah, actually we can go to Taco Bell. And I made a U-turn and we went to Taco Bell. But this isn't the first time I've felt like I was turning into my parents, because I had to ask this same cousin what skibbity meant, because I had no idea. Like, what's next? Am I gonna start texting people with my index finger? I'm becoming such an unk and I'm scared. Never act on your intrusive thoughts, because my brother just had a baby, but the day it was born, he asked me if I wanted to hold it. So I said yes and was super excited. But the moment I picked up that baby, the first thought in my brain was, I wonder how far I could throw it. So immediately I told my brother to take the baby back, but he asked why, and I couldn't tell him the real reason. So he was like, "You just started holding him. Hold him for a little while longer." So now I was freaking out because the intrusive thoughts fully kicked in. But while I'm still holding the baby, my sister-in-law goes, "It's getting pretty hot in here. Can we open a window?" And before I say this next part, just know that we are on the 8th floor of the hospital. But anyways, the nurse opens the window, and this was the worst possible thing she could have done, because right when she did it, my next thought was, throw the baby out the window, throw the baby out the window, throw the baby out the window. Like, what is wrong with me? Isn't it crazy how girls will give such obvious hints when they like a guy, but we don't even realize it? Like, gentlemen, if a girl has ever asked you to open a bottle for her before, there's a reason. You think she actually can't open that bottle? Of course she can. She's just throwing you a layup. But what girls don't realize is that most of us men don't have a thought going on behind our head, so we don't realize this. Like one time a girl told me that she liked my jacket, so I was like, "Oh, thank you." But then she said, "It would probably look better on me though." So in my head, I was like, damn, that's mean. I thought I looked pretty good in the jacket myself. Like, they try to make it so obvious that they're flirting, but we just don't get it. But this made me realize that everyone always thinks guys flirt way more than girls. That's not true. Girls flirt a lot. It just goes over our head most of the time. Rich people spend money on the dumbest things. Because I know someone who got hired by this really rich guy to literally just follow him around all day and take notes on what he says. Because he wants to write a book with all of his tips on how to become wealthy. So my friend starts doing this job, but after a couple of days, he was already bored of the job and he was like, there's gotta be a more efficient way to do this. And that was when he realized he could just use this AI note taker instead of having to listen to what he says all day. All he had to do was press record, and when the guy would talk, it would listen to everything he said. And once he stopped recording, it'd turn everything he said into notes for him. So my friend literally got paid $300 a day just to follow this guy around and record what he says. The most funny part is, the rich guy could have just used this app himself to record what he said. It's called TurboLearn, by the way, if you want to use it. But he didn't even need to hire anyone. My friend definitely ain't complaining though. Why are people in scary movies so dumb? Because I was just watching a scary movie that made me so frustrated with the characters that by the end, I was hoping the killer would get them. Like, tell me why I'm watching this movie where these girls are given a videotape and they're told that if they watch it, they will pass away. But what do? Immediately watch the tape. Like, I have no sympathy for you. People in horror movies just need to mind their own business. Don't watch these haunted tapes, don't go inside any freaky tunnels, and don't buy a house where the past 40 people who lived in it mysteriously passed away. Have you ever noticed that every person who doesn't make it in a horror movie was snooping around somewhere they shouldn't have been? Like, this is how I would be if I was in a horror movie. What's that? Oh, you think we should go into that creepy house over there even though you literally just saw a ghost turn the last person who entered into a pretzel? Yeah. I'm not gonna do that. Have you ever been taking a test and the kid next to you covers their answers as if you were trying to cheat off them? Like, even if it's obvious you're not cheating. Because I got so frustrated one time when I was in math class and we were taking a really important exam. But every time I would move my head at all, the kid next to me would quickly cover his paper. So the teacher saw this and started to think that I was cheating. So while making direct eye contact with me, she said out loud to the whole class, "Everybody remember to keep your eyes on your own test. If you are caught cheating, you will get a 0. But this made me so angry because I sat next to this kid the whole year and I definitely did not need to cheat off of him. Like, he made Forrest Gump look like a Nobel Prize winner. And when we got our results back from the test, I had to fight so hard to not laugh at him. The only person he should be hiding his test from after getting that bad of a score is his parents. I just got tricked by a homeless man because I was driving through a parking lot and there was a guy with a sign saying, "Homeless, anything helps." So I rolled down my window and offered to buy him food from Subway because we were right next to one. But he was like, "Nah, I'm not really hungry right now. I would just prefer if you could give me some cash." So the anything helps part of his sign was definitely a lie, but I had some cash with me, so I was like, whatever, I'll just give him some money. But a couple days later, I'm driving through that same parking lot again, and guess who I see? The homeless man. But something was different about him this time, because on this day, He was wearing brand new Jordans. He spent the money I gave him on Jordans. And you may be like, oh, why are you mad? Homeless people need comfy shoes too. And you're right. But I'm mad because the ones he bought are off-white Jordans that are literally worth more than I could afford. But somehow this homeless man could buy them? He should have been helping me out. Am I low-key just jealous of him? Yeah. Even homeless people have more drip than me. Nobody talks about the difference between how boys act on their birthday versus girls. Because whenever it's a girl's birthday, you can tell right away. They're dressed like it's prom night. They've got enough balloons with them to float to Mars. But for guys, it's completely different because I remember one time I was talking to this dude I sat next to in class and we were friendly, but we weren't like friends. So I didn't know when his birthday was, but then the teacher gave us a worksheet to do and we had to put the date on it. And the guy asked me what today's date was. But when I told him, he paused for a second, then went, really? So I said, yeah. And he was like, oh, it's my birthday today. And I had to stop what I was doing and be like, wait. There's no way you didn't know it was your birthday until right now. But apparently, not one person said happy birthday to him that day, and he didn't know the date, so he just completely forgot. I feel him though. I get about 3 texts on my birthday, and they're all from people that have the same last name as me. It's so sad. You know how when you were in school and your teacher was late to class, everyone thought that if they didn't show up within 15 minutes to class, you could leave? Or maybe that was just at my school, but one time this actually happened in my class, but I didn't know this rule was a thing. So after the 15 minutes passed, a kid told me about it, and for some reason, I just completely believed him, no question. So I left because I was really hungry. So I went to go get a snack from the store next to our school, but apparently this rule is completely false because I came back to school for my next class, and all of a sudden, someone walks into our class, whispers into the teacher's ear, and then the teacher goes, Tyler, they need you in the office. So I go to the office, and that is when I received my first and only ever detention. But then the next day, I show up to the class where the teacher was late, and she was acting like it was my fault. She was like, Tyler, I heard you ditched class yesterday. No, I didn't. You did. But yeah, don't try doing that. It's not true. Have you ever met siblings that you know would date each other if they could? Because one day at school, I met this new guy and he told me to add him on social media, so I did. And then I clicked through his profile to look at his pictures and I see a photo of a girl sitting on his lap, so I'm thinking, oh, he didn't tell me that he has a girlfriend. So I looked at the picture again, but then I looked at the person who he tagged in it, and that was when I saw that she had the same last name as him. So that was when I realized, oh my gosh, that's his sister. That's gross. But you know what makes this crazy? I went onto her profile to see if she had any weird pictures of them together too. And then I see a picture of her hugging a guy. So I'm like, oh, yep, another freaky pic with her brother. But no, it was the one thing that could have been worse than that. It was her boyfriend. And he looked exactly like her brother. She was dating the guy because he reminded her of her brother. That confirmed it for me. They definitely want to date each other. Does anyone else have a friend you'll be on FaceTime with for no reason at all? Like, you don't even gotta be talking or paying attention to each other. And you're always doing the most random things while on it. Like, I was on FaceTime with my friend once while I was making food, and my mom came in, but she didn't even notice him, because neither of us were talking. But then he coughed, which made my mom flinch and go, did you hear that? And I said, hear what? Then she goes, I'm pretty sure I just heard someone cough. So I was like, oh yeah, that's James. And I showed her the phone, but then she was like, since when were you guys talking to each other? And I was like, about the past 2 hours. Then she asked why no one was speaking if we were on the phone this whole time. And I was like, I don't know. We just kind of like to chill in each other's presence, to be honest. But what makes this hilarious is James didn't even hear any of this conversation because he had me muted. Why was I muted, you ask? He was at the dentist. We were FaceTiming while he was getting a cavity removed. So when I say we FaceTime for no reason at all, I mean it. What would you do if someone ended your friendship over a joke? Because that's what happened to me today. So we were at dinner with a bunch of our other friends, and one of them got a new dog recently. So she was asking us for recommendations on what to name it, and everyone was giving names. And as a joke, I said, you should name it Diddy, so when it's misbehaving, you can say, you're a bad boy, Diddy. But no one heard me say this except for one person, and I knew he heard it because he was making eye contact with me. And I could tell by his reaction that he thought it was funny, but instead of telling me to say it again so everyone could hear it, he turns to the rest of the table and literally says, you should name it Diddy, so when it's misbehaving, you can say, you're a bad boy, Diddy. And the whole friend group just starts laughing hysterically. He literally repeated my joke word for word, but said it louder and then took credit for it. But this isn't the first time he's done this. When I saw him looking at me after I said that joke, I knew exactly what he was gonna do. You can't trust people like this. Nobody talks about how scary it is when you're at your friend's house and their parents start yelling at them. Because I had a friend whose house I went to once and never again, because the one time I went, it was so awkward. Like right when we walked inside his house, he tried introducing me to his mom, but she wouldn't even acknowledge my existence because right away, once she saw her son, she was like, Riley, why did I just get your report card in the mail and see that you're failing math? And he was like, Mom, we talked about this the other day. So they start yelling over each other, arguing, but Riley made a huge mistake because he got so mad that he cursed at her. And right when he did that, the mom completely stopped talking, went into another room, came back with a belt, and whooped him. All while I was right there watching. And then when it was over, he's wiping tears from his eyes, and I'm just like,
Hey man, I got a call from my mom. I actually have to go, sorry. What are you even supposed to do in that situation? I don't know who felt more embarrassed in that moment, me or him.
Am I the only one that thinks it's insane that every single person on earth has their own lives? Like if you've ever been in a busy area and you look around, the thought of all those people experiencing their own reality at the exact same time as you is crazy. But this always makes me think, what is everyone spending their time doing? Because in this moment that I'm talking to you, all these other people are living their own lives at the same time. So what are they all doing? If I had to guess what they're doing right now, it's probably playing Block Blast. I say this because Block Blast is such a good way to pass the time. But thinking about the fact that everyone has their own lives brings so much anxiety for no reason because there's so many people. Like there's no way that all of them are actually real. This is why I genuinely believe that some people are NPCs. I mean, at this point, I might be one. I don't know. This stresses me out. Luckily, Block Blast is so good at relieving stress. Block Blast makes blocks fun again. So if you want to relieve all your stress, download Block Blast. Why do girls never make the first move? Like the other day, this girl was telling me about how she was super nervous to ask this guy out. And I was like, why? And she said, because I'm scared of getting rejected. And I was like, you do realize that guys will not reject girls, right? Guys are desperate. I mean, the other day, I dropped my wallet on the ground and this girl simply just picked it up and gave it back to me. And I instantly fell in love with her. Why did I not tell her that? Because she was like 70 years old. But that's besides the point. The point is that guys are not used to getting attention like that. So when we do, we're attached to you like this. Ladies, I'm not kidding. The next time you see a man that you're even slightly attracted to in public, ask for his number. This is how the interaction will go. Hey, I thought you were really cute. Do you think I could get your number? Yes. Do you want to marry me? Now, am I saying this because I'm scared to approach women, so I just want them to approach me? That's not important, actually. Do people actually have foot fetishes? Because someone DM'd me and they said, how much for feet pics? And I thought they were just kidding at first, so I replied back joking too, and I said, I charge per toe. But then they sent me $10 and they said, okay, now you know I'm serious, so how much do you charge per toe? I didn't reply for like a day, and I thought it would just end there, but he kept spamming me and he said, how much do you charge per toe? And I said, wait, are you actually serious? And he said, yeah, I have a foot fetish. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'm just going to say a huge dollar amount so that he says no. And then he stops asking me for feet pics. So I said, $500 for feet pics. But he said, okay. So then I had to think for a second. I was like, wait, should I actually send him feet pics if he's going to give me $500? But I didn't do it because it felt too weird. But I never knew people actually had foot fetishes. I thought it was a joke the whole time. Like, send feet pics? I didn't know that was real. But like, what would you do? Is this weird or am I tripping? Like, should I send the pics? I could use the money. I'm not going to lie. Never fall asleep on FaceTime with someone because I used to FaceTime this girl every night and I really enjoyed it. Until one day where I was super tired and while we were still on the phone with each other, I fell asleep. So the morning came and I completely forgot all about this because when I woke up, my phone wasn't on FaceTime anymore. So I'm just going about my day like usual until I get a text from her. And it's a video. So I'm thinking she sent me a video of her talking or something, but then I click on it and it's a screen recording of her being on FaceTime with me while I'm sleeping. But Tyler, what's the issue here? Well, I talk a lot in my sleep and apparently when I dozed off, she heard me sleep talking. But the embarrassing part is what I say while I'm sleep talking. Because for some reason, I talk in a baby voice sometimes when I'm doing this. So she literally got a recording of me saying, Mama, I wanna go home. I was so ashamed when she sent me that video because it took away all the nonchalantness I was trying to have around her. Let's be real, I didn't have a shot anyway. Nobody talks about how embarrassing it is when someone says you look like someone that is not good looking. Because I was at the mall the other day and a person who watches my videos came up to me and was like, Tyler, I'm so glad I found you. So I respond with, oh yeah, why is that? And he goes, because every time I watch your videos, I always think of how you look so much like this one movie character. So I ask what character and he says he'll show me, but before he does, he goes, you probably won't see it at first, but if you really look, there's a resemblance. So I'm thinking he's about to show me a picture of Brad Pitt or something, but then he turns the phone and it's the rat from Flushed Away. Immediately I was like, what are you talking about? I look nothing like him. But then he was like, here, compare it to a picture of yourself. So I do, and after a few seconds, I'm like, oh my gosh. I do look like him. You gotta be kidding me, man. Imagine meeting someone who watches your content in public and they just cook you. I can't catch a break. Have you ever asked your mom if you could hang out with friends and she responds with the most ridiculous reason why it's not safe to? Like I remember one time I asked my mom if I could go to the beach with some of my friends and she literally responded by saying, I don't know if it's safe to with the war going on right now. So I thought about it and I was like, what war is she talking about? So I asked her and she said, the one in Russia. Mama, we live in California. I don't think I'm gonna be in danger going to a beach that's 10,000 miles away from where the war is. But my mom watches the news a lot. So there was another time where I said, hey mom, can I go to the mall with some friends? And she said no, because there was a kid who just passed away at the mall the other day. What she did not mention in that conversation was that the teenager passed away from choking on a corn dog in the food court. I had to convince her to let me go by promising that I wouldn't eat any corn dogs while I was there. Rest in peace to the corn dog kid though. That's a pretty sick way to go out.
This is your reminder that your parents aren't racist, they just don't have a good memory. How does that correlate, you may ask? Well, you see, I have a friend who's Asian, and my parents love this kid. They always say how nice he is, but my parents' problem is, they can never remember names. So whenever I say I'm going to hang out with my friends, they ask which ones, and I say, Jaden, and they say, is that the Asian one? Yes, Mom, he does happen to be Asian. But here's the other issue. I have a couple friends who happen to be Asian, so asking if he's Asian isn't enough to know who it is. So after they ask that question, they say, oh, is it the one on the heavier side? Wow, I mean, he has red hair, so you could have asked if it was the one with red hair, but yeah, I guess he's the one on the heavier side. But they love this kid. They don't mean to say it with any harm. They just can't memorize names. Even mine. One time, my mom said, get in here, Ryland. I've never met a Ryland in my life. So is anyone else's parents like this, or is it just mine? I hate Christmas for one reason, which is the fact that I don't know how to react to receiving gifts. Like, someone could literally give me a Lamborghini as a present, and this would be my reaction. Oh, nice. And that's not even an exaggeration, because one year on Christmas, I really wanted a specific bike. I told my parents how bad I wanted it for months, but it was really expensive, so they were like, sorry, Tyler, but don't expect to get the bike for Christmas. So when Christmas Day came, I ran into the living room to see if there were any big boxes that could have this bike in it, but there weren't any, so I was super sad. Until we all finished opening presents, and my mom said, wait guys, there's one more gift for Tyler. Then she went into the garage and came back with the exact bike I asked for. I was so happy on the inside, but because I'm so bad at reacting to gifts, my parents thought I didn't even like it. So next time I get a gift, this is how I'm gonna be. A screwdriver? No way, Mom and Dad, you guys are the best. You can always tell when someone grew up with strict parents because I had this friend when I was younger, and the first time he came over to my house, we went into my room to play video games, and after he walked in, I asked him to shut the door, but he looked at me as if I just asked him if he wanted to rob a bank, and then he was like, you can do that? So I was like, yeah, of course, that's what doors do, they shut. Then he was like, no, but I mean your parents won't get mad if you shut the door. Then he said something that was hilarious, but also really sad at the same time, which was, last time I tried shutting my bedroom door, my parents got so angry that they took the door out of the wall and now I don't have one anymore. Then he showed me a picture of his room and he literally doesn't have a door anymore. But the worst part was my mom heard him say this, so she used this as a reason to be like, see Tyler, aren't I such a cool parent for letting you have a door? And I was like, I think that's pretty normal, Mom, but yes, you are the best. High school teachers are so much better at teaching than college professors because I'm in college right now and I have a history professor who does not know how to teach. Like when he's teaching the class, he'll tell us to take notes because we need them for the test, but then he'll refuse to put any slides or notes on the screen. He just reads them from his computer and hopes that we write them down, but the problem is he has a really thick accent that I can't really understand. So when he says something that's not very clear, we'll ask him to repeat it and he'll just be like, no. So I started using an AI note taker called TurboLearn that listens to your professor and takes notes. It literally just listens to what your professor says and then makes notes for you using AI. But then one day, I have my phone on my desk and he gets mad at me for using a phone in class. Like, how are you gonna get mad at me for using technology to do your job? Like, the teachers in high school actually care about the students compared to college. Like, I remember in high school, I used to have a teacher that would give us free ice cream if we got an A on the test. Why can't all teachers be like this? Last time I tried learning how a tampon works, all the girls said I have to do it with red liquid so it's more realistic. So your wish is my command. Here we go. So I don't remember how I did it the first time. I'm pretty sure we just push down. No? Wait, I forgot actually. Do I push? Okay, all right. There we go. Do I have to tug it? Okay. And then, oh, we just drop it in, right? Boom. Okay. No, oh, don't drop that part. I still don't understand how this expands inside, you know. It's almost like a tea bag when you think about it. Maybe it tastes like tea too. No. It's been about 30 seconds. Let's take it out now. Wait, this looks like an icy pop. Why does it look kind of good? It's kind of making me want to try. I can't lie. Never mind. I'm not gonna try. I rate this a 7 out of 10. Wait, what am I even rating? I was watching a bunch of motivational videos last night and they hyped me up so much that I set my alarm for 5 a.m. this morning because I was gonna go on a run. Well, now it's 5 a.m. and I have no idea what I was thinking last night. I'm going back to bed. My mom just texted me saying to come outside as quickly as possible because she has groceries and she needs me to help bring them in. So I put on the first pairs of shoes I could find, which were a sandal and a roller skate, and I got out here. But it's been 5 minutes now, and she's still not here. Where are you, Mom? I just got a super creepy DM from someone saying, get out of my house. So I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not in your house. But then they sent me a picture and my videos are playing on their refrigerator. How do you even do this? What's next? Are you gonna start watching me on your microwave? I need this fridge. Can any DJs watching this put my voice in a song? I'll say some phrases and you can just put it in the background, okay? Here we go. Yo, it's Tyler Vitelli. I can't believe I'm in a song. If you hear me in your headphones right now, I'm watching you. Also, I wanna say shout out to my mom. I just saw a video of my barber having surgery today, but the scary part is,
I have a haircut appointment with him scheduled tomorrow, and he didn't postpone it. Do I still go to it or what? He could barely speak in the video he posted. I know he's gonna cook me. I'm so scared. I just got a really weird message written on my coffee from the person who made it, and I don't know whether I should be scared or laughing, because I'm pretty sure they recognize me from social media, and look what they wrote on it. Oil up Tyler. I don't even want to drink this no more.
Since old people in nursing homes like to listen to music from their generation like this, does that mean that when our generation is in nursing homes, we're gonna be like this?
Fuck a pigeonhole, I'm a night owl, it's a different mode.
I made a video the other day showing off my bad haircut, and a bunch of people in the comments screenshotted my face when I looked really ugly and made it their profile picture. So from now on, I'm just gonna talk like this so you can't get an embarrassing screenshot of me. Ha ha. Oh, you think you're having a bad day? Well, I just dislocated my finger playing basketball, and then when I got home, I walked into the kitchen to get a snack, and what do I see? My mom's making dinner using the crock pot! Could this day get any worse? Just got my first shiesty. Who wants to be ops with me, huh? Although I should warn you, I can only have oppositions until 9 p.m. because that's my bedtime. But just comment down below if you want to be ops and we can make it happen. Just don't say any bad words, please. My friend told me to take a drink of this milk, so I did, but after I took a sip, he started laughing. So I asked him what was so funny, and that's when he told me that whoever drinks this becomes America's #1 creamer. I am not a creamer. I don't do that weird stuff. This is my application to play in the Sidemen charity match. If you have me on your team, I guarantee you'll win. Just watch. Tag the Sidemen in the comments on this video and on their video saying, please let Tyler play. I think someone is following behind me, so I'm gonna fake a phone call and hope that they leave me alone. Hey, Uncle Jerry, how's it going? Oh, do I have my knife in my pocket? Yeah, of course I do. Did I bring my grenades too? You know I don't leave the house without those, Jerry. Come on.